Welcome back to another class on Gemara Journey with Rashi. We are continuing with Masecht Berachot Daf Amud Aleph. This will be part 2 of the Shur. Before we go into our Gemara today, Masecht Berachot and Daf Amud Aleph, before we go further, I wanted to understand how did the Urim V'Tumim work. Because in the previous class we defined what Kreti and Pleti means. We defined what Urim V'Tumim means. But I wanted to get a better understanding. How did they work? So in the Hagod V'Tzunim in Hot Aleph, he says, "V'ayin b'Masechet Yomah, Daf Ayin Gimel Amud Bet." So I went and I looked over there. And just to point out one important concept over here, if we look into Daf Ayin Aleph in Amud Bet, he says over here like this. V'ein nishalin elel l'melech. You are only allowed to go ahead and ask it for a king. Ul'av bedin, and for the head of the court. Ul'misha tzibur tzarich bo, and for a congregation. Comes over here, Rabotai. What happened over here in our case? When the Chachmei Yisrael, they came to the Urim V'Tumim to ask if they're going to be successful, who were they asking for? For the Tzibur, for the Jewish people. So it comes out over here that the Urim V'Tumim, you were only allowed to ask them questions on behalf of a king, like David the Melech, or an Av Bedin, like Binyahu ben Yehoyada, or like in our case, the Chachmei Yisrael, when they ask on behalf of the Jewish people. But for any other reason, you wouldn't be able to ask the Urim V'Tumim. That's point number one. Point number two, how did it work? Now, we've been speaking about the whole time, Urim, right, comes from the word light, Tumim comes from the word tam, it's complete. Kretu, Pleti, Kreti, it cuts its word, Pleti, they're wondrous in their words. Okay, but how did it work? Now, after I read Masecht Yomah Daf Ayin Gimel Amud Bet, we'll have a better appreciation and what the Gemara was teaching us in Masecht Berachot Daf Amud Aleph. The Gemara says, "Keitzad Na'ased." How did the Urim V'Tumim work? Rabbi Yochanan Omer Boltot. Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yochanan said, Boltot, they would protrude. Now we need to understand. I don't know if I said in the previous class, but I'll say it again. The Kohen Gadol, he used to wear the breastplate on him. Now the breastplate, what was written on it? There's a machloket, we'll see, but everybody agrees that the 12 Shvatim, the 12 tribes, were written on it. We had Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Yisachar, Zevulun, Yosef. So all their names were written on the breastplate. So whenever the Kohen Gadol would ask a question on behalf of a king, or the Av Bedin, or the Tzibur, now, when the Urim V'Tumim, they want to go ahead and they want to tell the Kohen Gadol the answer, comes Rabbi Yochanan says, do you know what happened? Look at the miracle, the boy side. From the Kohen Gadol's breastplate, the letter would come out. The Gemara says, we'll see Rashi going to explain over here, Masecht Yomah. He says, for example, Ayin is Shimon. The letter Ayin, if you had to spell something, the letter Ayin would come out from the word Shimon. Literally come out. But we're going to see there's a machloket between Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan, because Reish Lakish says, no, Mr. Ford, Reish Lakish says they joined. Meaning, they would rearrange themselves so the Kohen Gadol is able to see exactly what it says. Rabbi Yochanan is going to tell you, no, it only protruded, it came out, but it stood in its place, and the Kohen Gadol had to join them, had to rearrange them to make sure that he knows what the Urim V'Tumim is saying. So Rabotai, let's see this right now in Rashi. In Dibra Matchil Boltot, Ha'otiyot Boltot, he says the letters, they would protrude. Kigon, for example, Ayin Mishimon, the letter Ayin from the word Shimon. Lamed Melevi, the letter Lamed from the word Levi. Hey Mi Yehuda, the letter Hey from the word Yehuda. Lomar, to say, Ale, to say go up. So if the Kohen Gadol asked them a question, should we go to war? Ale, go. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, listen to Rabotai, it's nuts. How did it work? According to Rabbi Yochanan, the letters would come out. That's what we have today, 3D, right? Anyway, the letters would come out. I don't want to compare the two. The letters would come out from the breastplate. Well, that's a miracle in itself. Comes the Rashi and continues, he says, וכל אחד אין לזזם ממקומו, אלא בולט ממקומו, והוא מסרפן. not one of them would move from their place. So if the letter Ayin, Lamed, Hey came out, each one would stay in their own place. They would not move. V'hu mistarfan. And the Kohen Gadol, he had to go ahead and he had to join the letters to make sure to be able to read it correctly. Comes Rish Lakish says, one second. Rish Lakish said, no, mistarfot. No, they would join. What do you mean they wouldn't join? What do you mean they stood in their place? They would actually join. The Gemara asked a question, one second. But you don't have the letter tzadi there. So how can you tell me that it was going to be able to answer any question? You have to understand. What do we have over there, guys? Rashi says like this. Rabotai, he says if he has to answer him with the letter tzadi, how's he going to be able to answer him if there's not one letter tzadi in from all the Shvatim, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Yisachar, Zebulun, Yosef, you don't have the letter tzadi. So how are you going to be able to answer something with the tzadi if the Kohen Gadol asks you a question, you have to answer him with the tzadi? Comes the Gemara says that's not a problem. You know why? Amor of Acha bar Yaakov, Rav Acha the son of Yaakov said, Shiftei Yishuri. No, I'm sorry. I apologize. I skipped one line. Amor of Shmuel bar Yitzchak. Rav Shmuel the son of Yitzchak said, Abraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, ketiv sham. According to Rav Shmuel the son of Yitzchak, he said you had over there, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were also written on the Urim v'Tumim. So if you had over there Abraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, there you go, you have the tzaddik. Continues the Gemara, one second. V'halo ketiv tet. But you don't have the letter tet. He says, no, Amar of Acha bar Yaakov, Shiftei Yishurin Ketiv Sham. The word Shiftei, the tribes of the Yishurin, it was written over there. So you see over there, you have the tet. Now, Rabotai, we're going to move forward a little bit. Now the Gemara is going to ask a question. And this is going to bring us back, B'ezrat Hashem, to our Gemara. Now we're going to ask, the Gemara is going to bring in Mitivi. So what did we just say right now? We said that the Kohen Gadol would ask the question to the Urim v'Tumim. According to Rabbi Yochanan, they would protrude, but not join. According to Rish Lakish, they would join. Right? They would rearrange themselves so the Kohen Gadol can read it. Comes the Gemara says, Mitivi, I'll bring you a challenge. Kol Kohen she'en midaber beruch HaKodesh u'shechina shora alav en sho'alim bo. Any Kohen that is not able to speak with Ruach HaKodesh, meaning he's not able to see with the divine spirit, and he does not have the Shekhinah resting on him, you are not allowed to ask with him. How do we know? Sharei she'al tzadok ve'atolo. Because if you guys remember, when Tzadok asked and he got answered, let me see over here. Okay. Rabotai, it's interesting over here. If you look into Haggadah Mitzrayim, it says Odbet. He says Sharei she'al tzadok ve'atolo. He says, look into Masecht Berachot Daf Memchet Amud Bet Ein Sham. But the interesting thing is, we also saw it over here in Daf Dal Amur Aleph Masecht Berachot. Yeah, I should make a note of this. 1 second. Okay. Rabotai, so we see over here, so we see from over here, Sharei she'al tzadok ve'atolo, Evyatar v'lo altalo, but Evyatar did ask, and he was not answered. Rabotai, didn't what you see over here, right over here in Rashi, Masecht Berachot, right? Ve'Evyatar el Urim v'Tumim. We said that every time that he was the Urim v'Tumim, because he was the Kohen Gadol, and he would ask from the Urim v'Tumim. Shekol Yimei David Haya Nishal be'Evyatar, because all the days of David he would ask Evyatar, who was David HaMelech? The Melech. And for who can you only ask the Urim v'Tumim? For a Melech, Avbedin, and the Tzibur. He's the Melech. That's why he was able to ask Al Melchemet Avshalom, until the war with Avshalom. Shesha'al Evyatar v'lo altalo. He asked Evyatar and he didn't get answered. V'sha'al Tzadok v'altalo, but he asked Tzadok and he got answered. Kedamrim b'seder olam v'nitzalek as b'nikun, and then he was removed from the kihuna. Oh, he says we also Mr. Rashas. He says Perik Yudav ubiyoma daf an gimel amud bet. Also it brings down. All right, that's what we're looking right now. In any way, Rabotai, so we see clearly over here what? What did you want to tell me? What did you want to tell me? You wanted to tell me, according to Rabbi Yochanan, they would protrude, but they would not rearrange. According to Reish Lakish, no, they would rearrange. 1 second. But the Gemara asks Emetivi. We said that if a Kohen who does not have Ruach HaKodesh is not able to speak through divine spirit, and he doesn't have the Shekhinah, you can't ask with him, because we see from Aviatar, he wasn't answered. But we see from Tzadok, he was answered. So what's the question? So look what Rashi says. In Dibra Matkal Sheimar V'yal Aviatar Atom Kol Ha'am La'avor. V'tani B'seder Olam. It was taught in Seder Olam. V'sha'al B'urim V'tumim V'lo Atalo. Aviatar, he asked from the Urim V'tumim and he wasn't answered. V'nisalek B'na Kihuna, and he was removed from the Kihuna. Sheimar V'yal Aviatar. Like the Pasuk says, and Aviatar went up. Here's the question. From the fact that the Berachot over here teaches us that you need a Kohen that's able to speak through Ruach HaKodesh, he has to be able to see what other people are not able to see. So we see from over here, we see from over here, they did not protrude and they did not mistaref, they did not join to one another. Rabotai, we have a problem over here now. Yom is Ruach HaKodesh, that means if I'm going to look, I don't know, how can I tell you? Here, let me see. Here, Talmud Bavli, mini edition, right? If I have to look, let's say I'm a Kohen Gadol and I have Ruach HaKodesh and the Shekhinah rests on me, so when I would look at it through the Ruach HaKodesh, through the divine spirit, I would have to be able to see that he's telling me, right? You would ask him, I don't know if it's a bad case, let me see if I have a real letter that I can say. Let's like this. Let's go like this. I would say, should we all go up or not? Right? So he would tell me. Wait 1 second. Yes. I would see the word chaf over here. Chaf. Through Ruach HaKodesh, I'm gonna have to see that this is chaf because he's answering me the Tumim. And then Lamed, let's say this Lamed or whatever. This Lamed doesn't matter. I would have to see call. Go with all your people. For example, I'm giving an example. If I ask him a question, should everybody go up or partial? He says call. But again, according to Rabbi Yochanan and according to Reish Lakish, if this Lamed would pop out and this Chav would pop out, or according to that's according to Rabbi Yochanan, according to Reish Lakish, if they would join and you would actually see them saying call, like literally, they would join with one another and you would see the word call. So why do I need Ruach HaKodesh? Why does the Berachot have to teach me that if you don't have Ruach HaKodesh and the Shekhinah doesn't rest on you, you can't ask for what? According to you, Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish, we don't need Ruach HaKodesh. We don't need the Shekhinah to rest on me. Why? Because if it's coming out, it's common sense. If the Lamed is popping out or the Chav is popping out or they're both joining with each other, what do you need to have Ruach HaKodesh? So from here we see clearly that it's a very big problem with what we said previously. How can you, Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish, tell me that it was either protruded or either it rearranged? Wait, maybe none of that happened, because really you need a Kohen that's able to see with Ruach HaKodesh. Let's see Rashi one more time, Rabotai. From the fact that it taught that it was not, from the fact that it was taught that you need a Kohen that's going to be able to speak through Ruach HaKodesh. So we see from here, they were not protruding and they were not rearranging. The imken, because if that's the case, if they're coming out or they're joining, lama li Ruach HaKodesh. Why do I need the Ruach HaKodesh? Okay. So this is that, Rabotai. Comes the Gemara says, no, 1 second. Sayuye ahav misai b'hadahu. No. The Kohen Gadol the Kohen Gadol would help. Together, the Kohen Gadol and the Urim were able to get the answer. They would be able to help one another. Look what Rashi says. Sayu Yehavi Misaya Kohen Bahadi Urim. the Kohen would help together with the Urim Tumim. How? He said like this, Hilkach, therefore, Im Kohen Kosher Haya, if he was a kosher Kohen, V'ra'oi L'shrot Shechin Alav, and it was fit that the Shechin should rest on him, and he had Ruach HaKodesh, Ha'otiyot Boltot, or Mistarfot, the letters they would protrude, or they would join, Al Yedo Kishin Sha'alin Bo, to the Kohen Gadol they would join, or they would come pop out when he would ask the Urim Tumim. No, really, but if he was not kosher, if he didn't have the zechut to see through Ruach HaKodesh, and the Shekhinah didn't rest on him, good, beautiful, then they're not going to come out, and then you're not going to be able to say anything. So it comes out of me like this, something very beautiful Rashi is telling us. Rashi is explaining to us like this. We ask the question, what do I need Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish? You two are telling me that either it came out or either they joined. For what? If I have Ruach HaKodesh, I don't need that. So the Gemara answers no. Really, through the Kohen, which type of Kohen he was, that allowed, that helped, that the way the Urim Tumim are going to be able to react. So if the Kohen Gadol is kosher, meaning he had the Ruach HaKodesh on him, and the Shekhinah rested on him, good. Then according to Rabbi Yochanan, it would come out. According to Rish Lakish, they would join. But if the Kohen, he was not fit, he didn't have the Ruach HaKodesh on him, and Hashem didn't rest on him, no problem, then nothing happened. So that's what we see from over here, Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish, they're right, and it's not a contradiction. Okay. Now, Rabotai, before we do continue, now I want to go back and I want to try to do with you that piece of Gemara one more time, having this understanding. Now we can better understand what does it mean that they would be fixing the words, they would be completing their words. What does that mean? They would light up their words. What does that mean that they would complete their words like Urim Tumim? Let's see these words. What does it mean that they were wondrous in their words? Now let's go back to Masecht Berachot Daf Amud Aleph and let's try to see all this inside with the understanding how the Urim Tumim worked. That's it. Now we can better appreciate the Gemara Masecht Berachot. 3 lines from the top. V'lama nikra shemam kreti upleti. Why were their names called kreti upleti? Meaning the Urim Tumim. Kreti shekurtim divrehem. The reason why it was kreti, the reason why it was called kreti, because they would cut their words. What does that mean, cut their words? She'omrim divarim. They would say words kituvim ugivurim that were set and complete. Shelo yevachatu v'lo yusifu. So you wouldn't be able to subtract from it and you wouldn't be able to add to it. It was so precise that you couldn't have made a mistake. She'omrim divarim kituvim ugivurim. They would say things that were set and complete. Shelo yevachatu v'lo yusifu. So the Kohen Gadol, he wouldn't be able to go ahead and add and subtract. Maybe like this, maybe like that. No. But how did all this happen, Abotai? Because you clearly saw it. According to Rabbi Yochanan, it came out, let's say, I don't know if I did 1 second. Did I do the Rashi with you, Boltot? I didn't do the Rashi with you, Boltot. Okay, I don't know if I did it or not. I said it outside, I think. Anyway, let me do the Rashi and I'll come back right over here. Again, Rabotai, if I'm making you go on a roller coaster, I can't help it. This is the only way to be able to learn Torah. This is it. This is back and forth, back and forth. This is nothing, Rabotai. Wait till you start opening the Shonim, Achronim. You could be on one line for years. Okay. Rashi Rabotai, let me just go back a step. Again, it's not a big deal. I just want to read the Rashi for you inside. When Rabbi Yochanan Omer Boltot, when Rabbi Yochanan said that they would protrude, comes Rashi and he says, Ha'otiyot Boltot, the letters they would protrude, Kigon Ayin Mishimun, for example, the letter Ayin from the word Shimun, Lamed Milevi, the word Lamed, the letter Lamed from the word Levi, Hey Mi Yehuda, I probably did do it, whatever. Hey Mi Yehuda, the letter Hey from the word Yehuda, Lomar Aleh, to tell you go up. V'kol achat en zazim b'mkomo, ela bolete b'mkomo v'hum mitzarfan. According to Rabbi Yochanan, each one would stay in his place and protrude, but he would join. But according to Rish Lakish, no, he wants to say, no, the letters themselves would join. They would themselves would rearrange. Now, why do I have to bring this in right now? Because now we can understand what does it mean Divarim Kutuvim Ugemurim. That the Urim they would say their words set and complete, were so precise. When according to this Rashi, if we were asked a question to go up, now remember. Anyway, when it said go up, Ale, go up, you clearly see Ain, Lamed, Hey. You can't add, you can't subtract. It was so precise, you couldn't have not made a mistake. The Urim V'Tumim, they wouldn't add or subtract. That whatever they said, that's exactly how you have to understand it. You can't make a mistake in their words. That's according to Shekotim et Divrehem, meaning to say that they were precise. According to Reish Lakish, even much better. They were able to join. The letters would be able to somehow, in their place, rearrange. It's nuts. They would move from their places, right? From Shem, Lev, Yehud, they would move and they would spell Ale. Anyway, Rabotai, what does it mean? What does Pleti mean? Shemuflaim b'divrehem. The Urim V'Tumim, they were wondrous in their words. You know what it means, wondrous? It was like wow. Because Rabotai, when the Kohen God would ask the Urim V'Tumim a question and he was able to give such an answer, that was an amazement. Can you imagine, Rabotai was able to foresee, was able to see what's going to happen, and that would be shocking to the Kohen Gadol. Wow, how can you? It's like, how do you know? Again, so in their words, it was wondrous. Now go back to Haggadah V'Tzunim and Not Aleph, where it says V'lam Nikra Shemam Urim V'Tumim. Why were the words called Urim V'Tumim? Urim Shemerim et Divrehem, Tumim Shemashlimim et Divrehem. Now I want to do this Rashi inside over here. This is, I read it with you like this, but I want to show you how Rashi defines this also. Similar to what we said, it's just, I always love seeing things inside. The Gemara Daf Ayin Gimel Amud Bet says, Lama Nikra Shemam Urim V'Tumim. Why were their names called Urim V'Tumim? Urim Shemeirim et Divrehem. They would light up, the Urim V'Tumim, they would light up their words so the Kohen Gadol can understand what the message is. But Rabotai, if you look into Rashi, in Dibra Matchil Shemirim et Divrehem, Rashi says, Mefarshim et Divrehem. The Urim V'Tumim, they would explain their words by giving an answer that, and that way they were explaining to the Kohen Gadol what the answer is to his question. That's it. Rabotai, I don't want to get into this right now. Shemirim et Divrehem, that they would light up their words. Rashi learns Mefarshim et Divrehem, that the Urim V'Tumim, they would explain their words. Means saying that they would be able to give the right answer through themselves, through explaining exactly like Ale, go up to the Kohen Gadol. Wow, what does it mean? Tumim. Why I say Tumim? Shemashlimim et Divrehem. The Urim V'Tumim, they would complete their words, meaning they would fulfill their words. Whatever they said never came back empty. Look what Rashi says. And Dibra Matchil Mashlimim et Divrehem, Kidamra, like we said, En Gizeratan Chozeret. Their decree that whatever they said, it doesn't come back empty-handed. If they said it, it goes. You should know by Urim V'Tumim, it's one thing that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes a decree, he's able to retract it. A person can do teshuva and so on and so forth. But once the Urim V'Tumim said something, you ask and he said it, there's no turning back. So Rabotai, but it's very amazing how all these things that they go hand in hand with that. When you put in the opinions of Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish and how the Urim V'Tumim worked, you have a better appreciation. Shekurtim Divrehem. What do you mean Shekurtim? They were precise. Of course they're precise. According to Rabbi Yochanan, they would protrude. According to Reish Lakish, they would join. Pleti Shemuflaim B'Divrehem. It was a wonder. They did the Urim V'Tumim. In their words, they were wondrous. It was like, wow, like, how can he answer? And then when we saw Urim V'Tumim, how do you define Urim V'Tumim? Urim, like Rashi wants to explain, they would be able to explain to the Kohen Gadol the question that he asked. Tumim, they would actually complete, they will fulfill their words. So we see Rabotai, it's not just for nothing that he went over here and he quoted us Masecht Daf Ayin Gimel Amud Bet. In any event, let's get back to our piece today. I'm not going to do a lot today, Blineder. It just, I think it was a lot said on this piece. Okay. We're back in Masecht Berachot Daf, Daled Amud. Aleph, Amar Rav Yitzchak Bar Ada, V'Amrila Amar Rav Yitzchak Bred Rav Idi, Maikra. Rav Yitzchak, the son of Ada, said, and some say it was Rav Yitzchak, the son of Rav Idi. What is the verse? Remember again, pay close attention. Maikra, we had the same verse over here in Daf Gimel, Amud Bet, when Amar Rav Yosef said, Maikra, what is the verse? What is the verse that's going to prove to you the incident that we mentioned earlier? Over here it was the Chachmei Yisrael when they went to Achitophel, then the Sanhedrin, and then the Urim. We brought a verse. But now comes the Gemara and it says, what is the verse for what? For David and Melech's harp. Look into Rashi. Rashi says, Maikra dikinor hayat talui l'mal mimitato umeororo. What is the verse that's going to prove to us that there was a harp that was hanging from above from King David's bed and it would awaken him? So look back into the Gemara. The Gemara says, Ura kivodi, awaken my glory or my honor. Ura hanavel v'kinor, awaken my harp and lyre. They're the identical instruments. They're just designed a little bit differently. A'ira shachar, and that I awaken dawn. Now, Rabotai, like usual, let's go back all the way in the back of the book. It's in Tehillim Nun Zayin Tet. Tehillim Nun Zayin Tet. Let's see this. Hey. Right here. What does it mean, Uri kivudi, Uri hanal v'kinor a'ira shachar? Uri kivudi, David Melech was saying, awake my honor, l'daber b'shir, to speak in song, in praise, v'lo yishan ad shalosh sha'ot kish'ar melachim, and not to sleep like other kings until the third hour of the day. Comes the commentary and he says, what does it mean kivudi? When it says over here, Ura kivudi, who was David Melech speaking to? It says, awaken my honor. He says, kivudi over here means nishmati, my soul. Shehi kavod haguf. The soul is the honor, is the glory of the body. Rabotai, I'm not telling you now a person doesn't have to be presentable. 100% you have to be presentable. But what I am going to say is, how much time do we invest into ourselves versus our neshama? What do we want to give more honor to, our bodies or our neshama? And the honest truth is, our bodies more than our neshama. We shop more than we learn. We eat more than we learn. We make sure we're looking good, better than the way we're learning Torah. And doing other mitzvot, davening, and anything you want to, basically in avodat Hashem. Our physicality, our gashmis, our materialism is given much, much more importance than our spiritualism. And that's a fact, unfortunately. At least in some parts of the country. Now, I'm making it clear. It's asur rabotai to look like a bum. That's a halachot and Rambam, Masecht Shabbat also brings down. You're not allowed to rabotai. You have to be presentable. But it doesn't mean you have to waste a lot of time on yourself. You need to work out, you need to eat healthy. You have to look good, you have to be presentable. Because people look at you, they're going to see a Jew with a stand, they're going to say, look at this disgusting Jew. And then they'll come out that because of us, they're going to hate Hashem's Torah and Hashem himself. And that's what the Gemara says. Kol Talmid Chacham, Masecht Shabbat. Kol Talmid Chacham sheish levav bebigdo, chayav mita. For what? What, he slept with a married woman? Any Talmid Chacham that has a stain on his body, on his clothing, or oil stain or something, dirt, he's going to be chayav mita. For what? He slept with a married woman, what do you do? Ate on Yom Kippur. Comes the Gemara says, because the pasuk says, David Melech says, I hate those that hate you. The pasuk is rearranged. Not that those that hate me. Those that make others hate me. Rabotai, Hashem says, Rashi brings down over there, You have sometimes people, Rabotai, from the Jewish people themselves, when they're not presentable, because of these people that are not presentable, people say, is this a Jew? Is this Torah? Are these the children of Hashem? Do you think I want to become Jewish because of them? Meaning, I should become more observant? So Hashem says, because of you, they came to hate me. For that, you chayav mitach chas v'shalom. That's what, Rabotai, I'm not taking away anything. You have to take care of yourself. You must. If you're not physically healthy, you don't sleep well, you don't eat well, whatever it is. You can't do other things, Rabotai. You just can't. But the question is, what do we emphasize more? Is our materialism more important? Do we give more importance to our materialism or to our spiritualism, Rabotai? Look, when you eat, 2 hours, 3 hours, no problem. Say Shabbat, Yom Tov. Bench, 3 minutes. Divrei Torah, 2 minutes. What's this, Rabotai? Play a game, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Work out, 1 hour, 2, no problem. Do things, watch a movie, 1 hour, 2 hours, 5, 6 hours, some people. Play a game, few hours. Comes to learn Torah, not even half an hour. Where, Rabotai, what are we emphasizing is important or not? Comes David HaMelech said, Ura kivodi, saying, wake up my soul. He said, my soul, shehi kavodagu, because the soul is the glory of the body. You take care of your neshama, your body is going to be taken care of. Rabotai, if there's no neshama, there's no body. But you could be taking care of, Rabotai, your body. But Rabotai, what happens when the neshama leaves? What's all that taking care of going to help you? Rabbi Walken used to say, people pump. You ever see a gas pump? People pump into their mouth food, delicacies, thousands of dollars. In the end, only that it should go down the toilet to one flush, worth nothing. Rabotai, ask yourself, what are you doing? Are you living for Hashem, or are you living for your body? And anyway, so that's what he says. Ura kevodi means awake my soul, my neshama, which is the glory of the body. Ura anav v'kinor. Why it says clearly, it says awake the harp and the lyre. Lenagen bahem, to play music with them. Be'et ayira, at the time when it's going to awaken me. B'shachar, in the morning, lehodod l'Hashem, to be able to go ahead and thank Hashem. So now we're going to go back over here. Says over Rabotai, Amr of Yitzchak bar Ada, v'amri la Amr of Yitzchak bar Bered Rav Idi. Micro, what is the verse that proves that David HaMelech had a harp that was hanging on top of his bed, and it would awaken him? Ura kivudi, ura hanavel vikinor. Clearly says Rabotai, ayera shachar. Rashi says ura kivudi. What does that mean, ura kivudi? So according to the way we want to learn, that is going under neshama. So David HaMelech was telling the neshama, do not take honor and sleep like other kings. Right? There's certain things that give people honor. Like a person wakes up late, the person does things at his own leisure, like a king, 8 o'clock, nobody. That's honorable. You wear an expensive watch, brings you honor. You wear expensive clothing, you feel honor. Sleeping, the same concept, you would feel honor. Sleeping late in, it's like you feel like you're one of them. You're like a king. Comes David HaMelech and he says, do not honor yourself and sleep like other kings. And then what does it mean? What does it mean that David HaMelech said, I would awaken the dawn? Shar melachim hashachar me'ororan. Other kings, dawn would have to wake them up, meaning the light. Va'anim me'orer et hashachar, but I would awaken the dawn. Now, Rabotai, I want to show you something from David HaMelech. Again, we learn all our halachot are based off our forefathers, our Tanaim, Amoraim, Rabotai, all the Gedolim. Everything comes from the Torah. But there's one problem that we have today when you tell a person, right, why aren't we behaving like David HaMelech? Why don't we wake up before dawn? Or so and so, why don't we learn Torah? And so on and so forth. We have excuses for them, but not for us. Because they were big tzaddikim. And Hashem says, right, that Hashem judges strictly with the tzaddik, kichutz hara, even like a hair's breadth, He'll punish him. But regular people, no. Rabotai, I want to explain to you like this. This is good when it comes to punishing. But you need to understand, when it comes to as an obligation, every single Jew, we learn out from our Gedolim, from our Chachamim, not from anything else, from our Torah. Why am I saying this? King David had every single reason to sleep in. He was a king. Had every reason not to learn Torah. Had every reason to take his life at a more leisure pace. He didn't do it. He obligated himself. I have more obligation. I have to learn Torah. I have to do this. I have to do that. He would wake up. He didn't want to be like other kings. If King David went out of his way to wake up before dawn, how much more so do we have to do it? Not only that, Rabbotai, pay close attention. This halacha is brought down in the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch paskins, Yitgaber ka'ari lamud baboker shehu me'orer ha'shachar. You have to wake from David the Melech. You have to waken up dawn. If we are right with our claims that it's for them and not for us, why do the Shulchan Aruch paskin halachot that belongs only to tzaddikim should also put for us? It's because it implied that's not only for tzaddikim. It's actually for everybody. And anyway, Rabotai, I want to conclude over here because tomorrow we're going to go back to the question with David and Moshe. How did David know and Moshe didn't know? We'll just conclude over here. But we see from over here, we asked how do we know that King David had the harp on top of his bed? Because the pasuk clearly said, what's the verse? No problem. Ura kivodi, awaken my soul. Ura hanavel vikinor, awaken my harp and my lyre. So we see clearly, Rabotai, at the time when he would wake up, he would go and he would play with them. So we see clearly over there, Rabotai, it was on top of his bed. From this verse of Ura kivodi, Ura hanavel vikinor, ayira shachar, we see from here that David HaMelech, he did have a harp on top of his bed. Have a great day. Baruch Adonai L'Olam. Amen. V'amen.